Far Harbor. Man, it is awesome analysis. My name is Chris James. With me, as always, is Grant Fig D. Mosley. Say hi, Grant.
Hi, Grant.
We also have Jared.
Hey.
And our ground correspondent, Tino.
Hey.
And Tino's using his phone to record, so his audio quality is a little lacking, but we love him anyway.
Tino
Yeah.
is officially putting the sum anal in awesome analysis.
Thank you.
He's actually currently in Far Harbor, broadcasting from the island, hence the amazing quality.
Hello, guys.
That is how much we love you, folks. We actually put someone in a post-apocalyptic land just to give you a feel of what it's like to actually be in Far Harbor. So I guess we should get down to it. Story-wise, I don't think there's a bad Fallout story. I don't think there's any such thing. But this one, for how long we were waiting for it, didn't really impress me. What do you guys think?
I'm right there with you. To give people who don't know kind of a basic setup, we start the game with a message from Piper, who is at Nick Valentine's detective agency. And basically, Nick and the player character are sent to a family whose daughter
Don't mean to interrupt you, but it's I don't think it's Piper. I think it's Nick Valentine's assistant.
That's who I meant to say, but didn't. I don't remember her name. Do you remember her name?
No, because she's unmemorable.
Much like the rest of this DLC.
Oh man, we're setting it up already.
This is going to come full circle. Wait for it. It's a beautiful thing. Continue, Grant. Go for it.
So you were sent essentially on a missing persons adventure that ends in Far Harbor. So you go there and you find this colony of synths. You find the the Children of the Atom, which is a faction that was in the base Fallout 4, but you really didn't get anything out of.
Barely there.
Yeah, and then you have the people of the island, the actual harbor men, and then you have basically raiders again. Just now they're called trappers, and they're even more crazy. Hooray!
What's really funny is Far Harbor is actually based off of Bar Harbor, right? Which is off the coast of Maine. And not one person has a Maine accent. That's why I kind of started the podcast with that old Maine New England accent there. But no one has one.
What about Longfellow? He tries.
He sounds old. He doesn't. I don't really hear like that Stephen King-esque Maine accent. So right away, I'm kind of pulled out of it a little bit.
Still, I actually remembered that character's name without looking it up. So clearly, he was doing something right.
Well, his name is Longfellow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a built-in dick joke.
It's the best kind.
You know, anecdotally, I think that the story, all-inclusive story of Far Harbor, was actually, if it was one piece, which I will consider it because it's just an expansion, that entire story of Far Harbor altogether was better than any singular story in the rest of the base game.
I would almost agree with you, except for the fact that it kind of fades off in the end. It actually starts out really cool. We kind of have like Synth Jesus, and he's like trying to keep the world together. And then like after a while, they sort of lose that mantra. And I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So keep going.
No, it's fine. But we should say, disclaimer, spoilers incoming.
Yeah, definitely spoilers. So if you have not played Far Harbor, I don't know why you're listening to this, but if you have, go no further.
Yeah, here's the thing that disappoints me the most about the story of Far Harbor is that the way it starts, it's this mystery, and then you go and find Synth Jesus, Dima, and he kind of plants the seed of doubt in your head, like, what if the player character is a synth? And then you kind of have these different ideas of like, oh, okay, what if this guy's convincing people they're synths and they're really not? Maybe Synth Jesus is just a really lonely guy, or maybe he's just breaking down. There's all these questions that you have, like what is his actual motive? What is the reasoning behind convincing people that they're synthetic? And at least in my playthrough, because there are several different ways to end the story, this is never touched on again.
Exactly. Dude, I was totally going to say that.
But Dima, that one motherfucker, did more for the synth than the entire Institute in the base game.
And I'd also argue for the railroad as well. who is like their sole reason for existing is to get synths into a safe place. And then here we have Synth Jesus out here in an unknown island doing a way better job.
Yeah, Far Harbor was such an extension of the base game as far as synths are concerned. And then on top of that, as well as the Children of the Atom too, because like we were saying, they weren't really in there. They were part of the main quest line. Right near the end, you just go to one of their huts and you're chilling out with them and you can talk to them, but they don't really offer you much, except for just a few lines of dialogue explaining what the fuck they are. Yeah, some rads. That's what they give you. You kind
of also see them in the middle of your storyline too when you're exploring the glowing sea.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, when you're in the glowing sea, that's where you see him.
Exactly. I don't know if any of you came across the super mutant tradesman on your playthrough, but man, like I really wanted him to be a companion.
Yeah, and he should have been Longfellow. Like, yeah, Longfellow has some unique dialogue and he has his own place, and that's neat. But I mean, you have a more interesting character right here.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you get his backstory in the Vim Soda Company or the Soda Factory, and it's like he's kind of has a built-in sort of motive. It's like I've realized that being a super mutant, like he's way better than strong in every sense of the word, and he would make more sense to follow you because he's again tired of being a super mutant and having that super mutant mindset, and here you are exploring the world or the end of the world, whatever, and yet again we're just going to make him emergent.
Yeah, I think this is another classic example of the Bethesda problem where the thing that they are forcing you to do, the thing that you have to do in their game to complete the main storyline is very much not as interesting as the other stuff that can happen. Easily for me, the most interesting quest that I undertook in Far Harbor was one that involved robots in this old hotel in a murder mystery and like these zany characters. And like I did that quest fairly early on, and it gave me so much hope, compounded with that initial meeting with Dima, talking about synths. And again, this is someone who actually did something for them. And synths are an interesting topic in Fallout, and they should have basically more narrative. We should be talking about, synth rights and, what it is to be human, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, it was just nothing. Like I did that one zany, wacky quest, and it's like, oh, this is a high note, and we're just going to climb this mountain up to, no, the mountain left. I was in the plateau again, and I didn't realize it.
And not only that, but it kind of leaves the main mission of how we got there. The reason why we're there in the first place is tracking down this young girl who believes she's a synth now, and she went to join Far Harbor to basically get some questions answered. And we have some story with her, but again, she's not really touched on. We never really actually find out definitively if she's a synth or not. You're just told she is, and you're supposed to accept it. But there's no actual hard evidence or any sort of quest to go through to make sure that's correct. Again, like very, very lacking in that. And you have the choice of either.
Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the reason why you're at Far Harbor is just a thinly veiled excuse to get you onto the new content. Like that's you hardly have any interaction with the main reason why you're there, which is to talk to the family and rescue the girl. Because you could have done that a long ass time ago, but.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's kind of I guess that she's kind of your Sean in this case, right? Where you're sent you're out there in the world to find your son, and oh look at all the shinies that we can go look at this I can explore. And,
I was thinking Tornay.
Who's my son again?
Tornay.
Oh, there's
an odd question about whether or not she's a synth, because I just thought of something I didn't try. I don't know if she's flagged as essential or not. Characters who are flagged as essential cannot be killed. They can only be knocked unconscious. But every synth that you kill has a synth component on them. Did any of us try just killing her? Did anyone just try to off Kasumi?
Of course I did. You can't kill her.
Bullshit.
Yeah, dude.
Jared to just like fuck the game in the face. Like, fuck you.
Of course. Yeah, try to kill everyone. It's hard on survival, man, because, you gotta run so far away from a bed, but fortunately there were a couple beds close by, so yeah, I tried killing everyone in there.
I think it's a good segue to sort of switch to, okay, how did everyone end this? So I went the good guy route. I blew up the Children of the Atom. I rescued Far
Good
Harbor.
guy route. You're a fucking monster. Anyway, keep going.
I guess the best guy route, I should say. It's not really good. And I sent Kasumi home with her parents and didn't tell them they're a synth. And it's very boring. That's the way I completed it. Anyone else go a different
America
route?
over here.
No, Yeah, mine's gonna be long. Go for it, Grant.
I went even more neutral because I did all the Children of the Atom quests, and I realized there's really no one there that I would want to kill except for their leader. Their new leader is a complete and total dipshit asshole and should be killed. However, the rest of them are actually pretty cool. No, I actually gathered up all the evidence, went back to Dima and told him to go to Far Harbor to basically have the Far Harbians pass judgment on him. And they all stood in a circle. He explained himself. He apologized for killing one of their members early on and replacing them with the synth, admitted the monster that he was, and he submitted himself to judgment so that no one else in Arcadia would have to be judged. Now, since I did all the quests for the Far Harbor region, for the Harbormen, they all basically kind of supported my view of bringing him there in peace. Because there was one guy, the one
Quick
asshole.
question.
Oh, go
Alan.
Quick question. So I kind of did the same thing, but I did. Alan's sister objected and was
Wait, you did Alan's sister? They
Yes.
added sex in this new expansion.
No.
No,
Wah,
Creation
wah,
Day isn't out yet.
Oh, never mind then.
Anyway, so yeah, I was asking, did Alan's sister object for you, Grant? Was there a quest I missed? Because she objected for my.
No,
thing.
she
wanted
will
to kill
always
him.
side with her brother.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do to change her mind. But basically, that saves them from wanting to go after either the Children of the Atom or Arcadia. So basically, Dima just said, "All right, I'm guilty," and submitted himself to execution. They shot him in the middle of the harbor. I went back to Arcadia, told Kasumi, "Hey, so I'm kind of responsible for Jesus's death. You want to go back home to your parents now?"
After you looted him, of course, because we can't.
Well,
Did you not loot him?
I don't remember there being anything good, actually. Was there anything
There
good?
isn't. No.
Oh, okay.
there is.
Bottle caps.
There was a plasma pistol, a synth component card, as you said before, and some other useless, like I think a fuse or something like that.
Yeah, that's a completely different issue that we're going to bring up later as far as itemization in the expansion. But yeah, then we just went back to her parents. Her parents were like, "We're glad to have you home," and she's like, "But I could be a synth." And her mom's like, "I don't care." And they just hugged it out. And her
Oh,
dad's like,
really?
"Go."
So you actually like told them this is a possibility? Because I totally lied. I was like, "Nah, she's not a sim. She was just a little crazy for a bit. Everything's good."
Yeah, I did the whole neutral, like, does it even matter thing? And they said, "We'd love you anyway," sort of thing. And then I got the trunk of goods that grandfather buried out in the shed,
Yeah.
which turned out to be
I
garbage.
love that. By the way, my grandfather was an adventurer, and I buried it in the backyard because fuck that guy. I don't want to remember him at all.
Because all he had was shit.
And
Yeah.
it was the trunk full of junk.
Like, I'm not the adventurer that my grandfather was, but you walk to town to pick up supplies. I've been to your house. That's an adventure.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Like, yeah, you step foot outside your house in a nuclear apocalyptic wasteland. That's an adventure, bro. Hate to break it to you.
So, Jared,
No, it's just-
how did your murder spree end
I
up?
can't wait
Oh,
for
dude,
this.
you guys are actually overestimating me because I was the most neutral out of all.
Oh man.
Things were
Please-
dangerous on survival.
Didn't
Okay.
even complete it. He just left. He's like, "Fuck all of you. I'm gone."
No, because I was planning on blowing up Children of the Atom too, but then I ended up doing their quest last. So what happened was I saved everybody. I mean, Dima didn't reveal himself. I just offed the leader of the children and replaced him, and I didn't say shit to the Harbormen because I figured Dima, he could have gone and revealed himself, and I knew they were going to
So when
execute
you
him because I
say
knew they'd be
you
pissed.
offed him, when you say you offed him, did you just walk up and shoot him, or is there a dialogue option?
Oh, I fucking smashed his face with my hammer. Yeah, you
Oh.
get him. You actually take him into a back room somewhere and you just bend him over, and then he gets replaced with a synth that is made by Dima to look exactly like him. And
So
what
this
that
was a
guy
quest?
does is, yeah, this is a quest. This is a quest to actually be neutral with them or like friendly with them.
Okay,
because
so
the
walk
children,
us through that. Like, how's this start out?
dude, I was going to nuke the children at first. I'm like, yeah, just burn the whole place to the ground. But then I started doing the quest for them, and they're actually, everyone except for their zealot leader is really cool, and they're just chill, and they just want to live a happy life. And like, there was one dude who actually turned me. I forgot his name. His name was like Wade or something. He had like a 4-letter name. But that dude's quests were just to help the people around, and he was just like a raider or something, and the children of the atom ambushed his crew, and instead of him dying, he ended up joining them, and he's not even a chosen of Adam, and he has to pop all these pills or drink this purple drink that keeps him
Oh,
from
I think I
rads.
did this quest, and he has like a buddy who's going through a fast and like is basically dying, right?
Yeah, and he's all hopped up, or he who was a drug addict, and then you have to dress as the children Jesus, and you just like get that glow, and you talk to the dude, and yeah, I was just like friendly to all those people because I wanted to see what they were about.
Okay,
Then-
so when you say you dressed like Jesus, like there was a garb that you could put on.
Oh
that
yeah, you didn't do that part, huh?
No, I didn't. Yeah, they walk us through this like we've never done it, because I honestly don't. I tried to do what you did, and I don't think I ever got the dialogue option.
You talked to that dude. I forgot his name. I thought it was Wade. It's something like that. Yeah, I can't find it, but it was that dude. Do you remember, Grant?
Where WAR.
Where? Okay, yeah, that's him. And then he's like, hey, there's this new dude over here. He's kind of a cool guy. He was taking drugs. Go talk to him. You know, he's fasting. We don't want him to die. So then you go talk to this dude, and he's just like spitting gibberish. And you get a little bit of story out of him. And he's like, yeah, I was all hopped up on these fucking drugs. And then the names are escaping me. It's been a while since I played. The leader of the children, like their deity. The deity of the children, it came to him.
You mean Adam?
Oh yeah, the children of Adam. Its name is Adam, right? It was like it was like a messenger of Adam that came to him and told him to stop being a junkie and to go join the children.
I think you're referring to
waiting.
the mother, which is like the mother, which is like
the mother actually just is pretty much interacts with you and no one else.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so
I'm
you're like
pretty
the
sure
Messiah.
like someone has seen the mother, because like first of all, we know that the second in command there, he's definitely seen her, and I believe he does too. Like the mother kind of helps him out and points the way, just like she did for you. But I could be totally wrong, so I'll shut the fuck up and let you continue.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sorry.
Well, that's basically it. Is you just get a garb and you get a whole bunch of rads, like 75% rads, so you're practically dying, and you have this nice healthy glow about you, and you just go talk to the dude, and then you like ham it up, you put on this silly little voice, and you're like, woo, druggy.
So how did you know to put on the garb?
They give it to you. They tell you what to do. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, it's just part of the
I
quest.
did the same thing, and I just convinced him to stop via what's it called,
A persuasion
check.
option.
Persuasion check. Yeah.
Oh,
and
no, I didn't have that.
So yeah, and then he stops, and he's like I also convinced him that I was the messenger of Adam, but like again, like it was very sarcastic the way my character did it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so stop that and eat some food and have a good day.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Does.
But dude, the rest of the children are also pretty cool, except for their zealot leader. But there was like one chick who defected, and she kept going on about how Adam isn't real. And then you go talk to her, and unfortunately I wasn't able to save her because I didn't have the speech check. But she goes on to say stuff about how she knows that Adam isn't real, and that she just wanted to hang out with her friends, but then they ostracized her. And she realizes that Adam is just a fucking joke, and that she's seen all this stuff, and she knows reality, and she's just like an outcast, and that she spent her whole life with the children, and now she doesn't know what to do with herself. So I had to fucking beat her face in because I couldn't pass a speech check.
Oh, guess I'm gonna have to smash your face.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I did pass her check. It's kind of interesting because like the whole thing that turns her away is she sees a picture of the Adam like in a textbook and sees that an atom is made up of like large, mostly open space. So she, instead of being like praising atoms, she praises like nothingness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So she's a
absence of Adam.
scientist. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Then there's then there's another
the
chick who was
atheist.
just having an affair or something. I don't know. I didn't read too much of it. I just know that she was putting out for some dude on the outside.
Yeah, she was banging some dude, and he's gone now. And she like kept his note, and you want to check her bunk for his note, and then you could like bribe her, or sorry, not bribe her, blackmail her, or you could just keep the secret.
Yeah, I told her to
Yeah, I
run,
remember
and I
that.
couldn't keep the secret because I couldn't pass another speech check. But she made it out safe.
Where's that charisma, bro?
I don't have points for it. I gotta spend points into surviving. And I gotta put points into
He
Waterboy
put all
and
his
cannibalism.
points into hammers, apparently.
To fucking hammers, yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to rewind this for a moment because I was looking something up because I was curious. Kasumi, who may or may not be a synth, if you are a member of the Institute, when you start the quest, you can talk to one of the scientists who will reply that they have no record of any synth deployment with that identity. If you talk to the Railroad, they said they don't have anyone with that synth identity that they've helped mind wipe. And if you kill her, like, in an attack on Arcadia, or if you're looking at her in the creation kit, she does not have a synth component.
Okay. I figured she
She's
wasn't
a
a
real
synth.
girl.
She's a real girl.
She's an angsty teen. You know, she just wants to. She thinks she's something
She
else.
doesn't know who she is, and she
Yeah.
wants to be important. That's what it is. She wants to be fucking important. You're not important, Kasumi. Sorry, you're not.
All right. Anything else
It's
about the
just-
children? Let's talk about one of the other factions.
Oh no. Okay, so I was actually going to segue into. I don't know. Jared, I think, had the most interesting playthrough.
Oh wait, I didn't even finish what I was talking about.
No, you didn't. Yeah. So how did you get him into the room? How did you
We're
get
so
him in the
organized.
Dude, no, it's easy. I mean, the whole point of you talk to Dima, and he's like, okay, just do, I have a plan to make everything happy and sunshine here on the island so that everyone can coexist. And so I like that ending. I was like, yes, this is what I want to achieve because it's completely fucking neutral, which is what I would have hoped for the main story, but I was able to achieve it in this without speech checks. So, yeah, I didn't tell anyone in Far Harbor. I didn't tell the Harbormen about Dima's betrayal, and I just offed the leader of the children and replaced him with a synth. So now there's synth leaders in every city, and they're just making sure they're keeping the peace.
Oh,
And that's it, and then-
Overlords.
Yep, I'll hail the
So
synth
by-
overlords.
Yeah,
And I didn't
exactly.
fucking.
So you invaded.
I'm not sure how neutral that sounds.
No, it's totally.
Yeah, it's
well,
not
it's,
very neutral at all.
well, one bitch was already dead. Okay, she was already replaced by a synth before I even got there.
Killed by the guy you sided with, by the way.
I didn't side with him. I didn't side with anybody. I
Yes,
just made
you
sure
did,
that.
because you put his operatives into the Children of the Atom.
Well, yeah, but that was because the children of the Atom were being controlled by this guy, right? He was a dictator. So yeah, get rid of that dude so that they can live a happy life in peace.
Well, now you replace one dictator with another.
No, it's a fucking robot. He's just going to
he
maintain
replaced
peace.
a dictator with a puppet politician leader because that's worked so well.
That's what
in
I meant.
Every situation we've done that in the real world.
Exactly.
It's
is
working
what I
fine
love
for
about
Far
Fallout.
Harbor.
This is why I argue that there is real no bad. There really isn't a bad Fallout story because you have these sort of questions like, did I do the right thing? Like,
Oh, no,
I
no.
obviously didn't because I wiped out a bunch of fucking people that were actually pretty cool just because just because I wanted the achievement, but just because I thought that the children of the Atom were in the wrong and they were actually polluting the land.
Hey man,
no.
virtual lives matter.
90% of the base game was super linear, and you had no choices. So, but that's a story for a different time.
No, but what I'm saying is I'm not saying that the playthrough isn't linear, but I'm saying is they give you these questions, these morality questions throughout the entire story that you kind of have to answer or you try to answer. Like there's no real like super clear good guy and super clear bad guy. Everyone kind of has their faults.
I think I personally have a problem with the lack of clarity. And it's a problem that I had with the ending of the base game, and it's a problem that I have with the end of this DLC. Because when you've played Fallout's past, as far back as 1 and 2, and then certainly 3, all the DLC for 3, New Vegas, all the DLC for New Vegas, every time you reach the end of one of those games or one of those DLCs, they do basically a slideshow. This is what happened due to your actions. This is what's going to occur after you leave these people. And that was missing for me from Fallout 4. And
Yeah.
it's missing for me in this because, yeah, you have this open-ended, oh, there's so many things that are left unknown and it's a mystery. And it's like, I don't want that from this game. Like, there's a lot of open-ended things in like Dark Souls. You know, things aren't explained to you there, and I'm super into it. But when every other Fallout has given me that sense of closure, and this one doesn't, it feels wrong.
Not to mention the severe lack of Ron Perlman.
I don't know, man. This one, oh yeah, of course, Ron Perlman. But this one it closed it up for me. I mean, fucking wipe my hands clean, we're done. I don't have to go back
I
there.
I have to say, I'm actually a little disappointed that Jared was able to achieve that because, yeah, that is pretty definitively clear that Jared did the right thing. Everyone's happy. I mean, yes, you have kind of an overlord, but he's basically Jesus. We're calling him Synth Jesus.
Yeah, he's looking out for the rest of them, though. I mean, he's providing them with tools and shelter, and he's protecting them, right? So yeah, maybe he is the overlord, but it works out.
But we all know he can go rogue at any moment. Like he can just decide that's worth it, and then cap them and replace them with the synth.
And we know that he's trying. He has, at least in one case, to the player character, attempted to convince someone that they're synth when they may not actually be.
I don't know if that's what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to keep your mind open. I didn't really get the sense that he was trying to manipulate you to think you're a synth. It was more like that, well, dude, you don't really know, do you? It's kind of an interesting question.
To me, it did because he used the framework of the game itself, where your character, you as the player, you have no memories of anything prior to the opening of the game. And he brings that up.
I had a problem with that actually because they didn't give you the option. Like I remember when I was 5 and playing baseball. You're telling me that this guy doesn't remember something like that before he got frozen?
Yeah, there is no chance for your character to say, "Hey, I remember my first kiss" or whatever that he talks about later.
Even if he is a synth, chances are he would have been programmed with a backstory like that. So it really doesn't make sense if he could be a synth.
Sorry. Plus, the way it was framed, it doesn't even take into account that the first thing you see when you start up the game is your character in a war, and you don't mention the war at all, right? That was before you were frozen. You were in a fucking war. He doesn't mention that. There's not even a dialogue option.
Yeah,
so you remember this entire segment before synths were even a thing, right?
Even in the beginning of the game too, if you play as the girl, she says like, "I'm so proud of him in his service," and if you play as him, he's like, "I remember war," or whatever the fuck he says. But yeah, like obviously there is a past that he remembers before he gets frozen that day. I don't know, maybe he's just fatigued from all the nuclear fallout that he's gone through, that he doesn't remember everything before he was frozen. But yeah, that bothered me. I was like, no, there would be a back memory that he remembers.
Well, yeah, I remember stuff before he was frozen. I spent an hour and 45 minutes doing my hair and then walking around my house trying to punch the baby, getting in fights with the robot. Yeah, I remember this before I got frozen.
Can we all agree that Jared has way more fun than us in this game?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Much fun.
Okay, so I think that's a good way to segue. I think that's a good way to end story.
No, we're not done talking about the Harborman, especially the Mariner.
That's right. We haven't gone into the Harborman.
That Mariner booty. We got to talk about that.
All right. I did everything for the Harborman. Did anyone not?
Yeah, I did everything for him.
Yeah, I did everything too.
Actually, they were I was excited to do stuff for them. Usually, I get a little bit irked when there's a whole bunch of side quests, but I just got sucked into it just because the Mariner was just throwing stuff at me. Like, yeah, baby, let's go.
All right. In the interest of saving time, let's just go with the favorite quest of the Harborman. Because yes, you're right. We could talk about the Harborman till forever. So let's go with favorite quest, and we'll start with Grant.
Probably the extreme disappointment of the Red Menace.
That was the best. Yeah, that was the best though. That's why it was my favorite too. Is that it was disappointing. But that's what they were going for.
Convince her to just go along with your lies and just like, yeah, they're gonna throw us a party, fuck it, we killed the Red Menace, woo, we're a bunch of badasses. Because there's the other ending where you can tell people that it was a fucking mud crab with pink eye. I'm sorry. They get all disappointed and shit. But no, I chose to lie to people because that's fun.
That sums up my entire playthrough. I just lied to everybody. But yeah, I got what I wanted, so there you go. Lessons of life.
Yeah, runner-up would be the old crazy lady
I
who
was
has
just
you
gonna say
avenging
that.
her family.
I was going to say that.
Chris,
yeah,
take it away.
that is probably my favorite quest line because she's this crazy lady, and you're doing these quests for her, and you think it's to avenge her family. And again, they do this really cool sort of Fallout thing where at the end you find a holodisk, and it turns out that she's been sending other people to do these same things, like doing the same quest. And she might not even had a fucking family. She might not be the person that she says she is. And so you're kind of left with, did I just do the right thing? I just murdered a bunch of fucking people on the behest of this lady that might not actually be all the way there. And yes, there is a sort of like, if you go through her dialogue, she sort of says like, oh, it could be possible, or I was testing or something. I forget the exact bullshit she says, but yeah, that I was like, this is why I play Fallout, for these sort of morality checks. And I thought that was super interesting. So that was my favorite.
So I've got a story time if you guys want, real quick. I'll try to make it fast. This is about my least favorite quest.
Hold on, I'm just gonna stop by saying we'll end the story discussion here with this.
Okay, that's perfect. So I have to preface this by saying I played survival difficulty when the game first released, right? So that was just the hardest difficulty that was in the game. It didn't have the sleeping, eating, drinking, instant death, no quick save, no fast travel, none of that stuff. It was just the hardest difficulty, and you could still do the entire game like you would on every other difficulty. So I came back to the game during Far Harbor, right? And at this point, they had already added the real survival mode at some point. So of course, I instantly switch it on. You know, I play around for like 2 or 3 hours just to get a feel of it. Everything's going fine. Then I do the initial quest. I get sent to Far Harbor. The first fucking quest, getting into Far Harbor, was the most infuriating thing I've ever played in this game. You guys, probably it was a breeze, right? You just go and you talk to them and you jump down, you kill some of the sea creatures, and then you go into the town and everything's good. Not for me. This was fucking miserable. So I had a Nick Valentine cruising with me because I thought you had to have Nick Valentine, which I actually went back and I took a different companion. Nick Valentine is not required for the entire time. I thought he was. He's not. You don't need Nick. So I had Nick in the beginning. So the first time I did it, I jumped down. I'm like, fuck it, it can't be that hard. The rest of the game isn't difficult. But of course, they throw a bunch of Mirelurks at you. And me playing melee, the Mirelurks are the hardest the hardest enemy to fight. Because I can't really aim them. Yeah, when I use Blitz, which requires VATS. And so you can't aim during Blitz. So he just attacks the shell. And they don't take much damage. And then they seriously get behind you and they one-shot you. So what I have to do to fight Mirelurks is I kite them as far as I can. And I parry and I counterattack. And I parry and I counterattack, right? You can't do that in this area because there's too much mist around.
Oh my god. Hold on. Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Are you using power armor or are you not using power armor?
Fuck no, I'm Grognak. I roll with the Grognak chest piece. It's the only way I can kill things. I have to 1 or 2 shot them, yeah. So I'm Grognak with a Krelm's tooth or whatever, and then I actually have some pretty beefy armor in my legs and arms and stuff. So yeah, the first time I do okay for the first wave. Second wave I get absolutely obliterated. So then I come back to it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sit back and wait for it to happen. Cool, no problem. Everything goes fucking swimmingly, no problems. I jump down. There's some corpses there. I cannibalize one of them. The entire town attacks me. Fuck, I gotta start over. This is where the shit begins. Let me tell you, somebody, I think it was the Mariner, is throwing Molotovs, and they're doing damage to me. No matter where I hide, if I hide inside the town, she follows me and she starts throwing fucking Molotovs at me. I do this for like 10 tries, and I just keep getting lit by Molotovs, no matter where I go. Whether I'm on the top, whether I'm in a house, whether I run around a corner, I can't do it. I cannot do it. Nick Valentine.
Why is she following you?
I have no idea. She decided to follow me. No, I didn't piss her off. She was still friendly. She just decided to come with me. Every time I would go, fuck, dude, Nick Valentine would go around a corner and he would die. And then I would have to go res him because I didn't know. I didn't know that there was going to be a settlement there and there were no beds that I could use. So I would have to go res fucking Nick so I wouldn't lose my companion. I didn't know about Longfellow at this point. This is the first quest. And it was
Right.
absolutely miserable. So what I had to do was I actually went back. I started over. I had to go back into town and load myself up with mines. And then I rushed. I knew what was going to happen. So it's seriously like my 11th or 12th attempt at this. I rushed down, set up mines, and then hid in a corner inside the house on the left. Nick Valentine was there, and the mines took out the first wave. Second wave, I just fucking chucked grenades at him, and I was able to hide. But oh my god, it was so frustrating. The rest of the game was cake in comparison to this.
You put Grognek's name to shame.
And
I know, I didn't even
you're
grognak
gonna-
it, man. I had to grenade it. Mines and grenades.
I know. I'm a little disappointed, and I kind of want my 5 minutes back, but you know what? I guess that was good.
That was the worst quest, dude. You guys don't even know. It was easy for you, right? You one-shot it.
Is
I mean,
Okay, so-
personally, I'm never disappointed by the Mr. Torg option. Just blow it all up.
Yeah.
I feel like you're vegan and you're complaining about not being able to eat meat right now.
Dude, the
Like,
rest
it's
of the
your choice
game
to go
was not
survival.
this challenging, though. It's just that anytime I would move, I mean, it was fighting the hardest enemies that I could possibly fight for my build, and anywhere I would go, there were Molotovs coming my way. From my friends. And I had it the second time, too, and I cannibalized, and they got pissed off at me. So it was just like, icing on the cake. I had it, but then I had to go through and do it over and over and over again. Holy shit.
You always gotta hide your eating habits from people, especially if you're a kid.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
didn't like
With
that too
that,
much.
I'm gonna say, since we were talking about Mirelurks, this is a good way to segue into creatures and locale, and art, and etc. Because that's on my script. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the new creatures that were added and what we thought about them. I have a beef. I didn't get to meet one of the creatures. I never met that mantis thing.
Wait, the Mist Lurker or the Hermit
Yeah.
Crab?
The Mist Lurker. I
Oh
found
my
the Hermit
God.
Crab, and that was badass. I loved the Hermit Crab.
Yeah, Hermit Crab best addition creature-wise to Fallout in a very
Yeah, I've
long
heard
time.
about this.
So,
Crab
never
in
saw
a
it.
bus?
yeah. So describe this for Grant. Why don't you describe this to Tino, since he's on the ground and he might be having to look out for this thing. So describe it to him just in case he runs into it.
Yeah, essentially there are these critters that are along the road. You're just kind of going along, minding your own business, and there's a vehicle, and you don't think much of it. There's all sorts of abandoned vehicles in Fallout. It's really popular geometry. And you kind of get to the front of this thing, and it starts moving, and just these big claws come out, and these like stalk eyes, and it's a mutant hermit crab that is using a VW van like as its shell. This thing is huge. It is awesome. The introduction, like its animation for like when it's waking is great. Sure, it looks kind of dumb skittering around, but I didn't even care. It is easily the best creature.
So I have a
DLC.
story. I have a story about when I met first met the hermit crab. And I think there's only one, right?
Yeah, one or two. Yeah.
Well, if there is more than one, the one I met was happened to be around a bunch of feral ghouls. So I'm trying to take out these feral ghouls, and they're all running at me. And then in the background, I see this giant bus with crab legs coming at me, and it looked like a scene out of a Godzilla movie, because like these feral ghouls are like running at me, and they look kind of scared. And then they got this giant kaiju behind them, like, "Brah!" And he's like attacking the feral ghouls too. And then he comes after me. So it was actually kind of really surreal for me. And I was like, what the fuck did I just see? And I was like, oh shit! And I just started emptying my clips at him. I have a explosive shotgun. That's kind of my favorite toy and way to take out creatures. And it's silenced, which I find kind of ironic. And I must have emptied probably about 32 clips into this thing before it went down.
Holy shit, dude. I can't even afford to carry 32 clips. I don't have the inventory space for it. I had 0 guns, 0 ammo. I didn't pick it up because I started survival.
Because the way he plays, ammo,
I don't have pockets.
Ammo takes up. Yeah, ammo takes up.
Yeah,
weight.
I'm wearing a loincloth, no pockets. All right, what do you think, Grant?
No, but I'm not done with my beef. So yeah, I
Okay.
never got to meet the Mistwalker. which I was kind of looking forward to because you kind of hear about it all throughout the game. And
Yeah, one of the first quests, Longfellow mentions
positive that you had to have done it because there's a quest for the Harborman called Shipbreaker, where you go and kill a named fog crawler named Shipbreaker.
Nope, did not do that quest then. Who gives it to you?
It's a radio frequency.
Oh, see.
Wait, I didn't do that one either. Yeah, I don't think I got the radio frequency. I never listened to it.
Oh, well, when you were talking about Longfellow, I assume that's the one you were talking about, because you turn it into him, and he gives you a unique harpoon gun.
Oh, shit. No, he talks about it when you're running up the hill to Acadia the first time. Because you hear a noise, and he's like, this is fucking mist monsters. Don't go near them. You don't want to be out at night in the mist.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's what he was talking about.
I didn't see the creature then, but I remember him saying something like that, and then I was like, "Oh, can't wait to meet that thing." And then in the pause screen or the load screen, like you see a picture of it, and it's like, "This is one of the most dangerous creatures in Far Harbor." I'm like, "Dude, I can't wait to see this." And then like I 100% the game and quest and stuff, and I never fucking see it.
Oh, you obviously didn't 100% it.
Yeah, I'm amazed because there's literally 7 varieties and like the legendary named one. I don't know how you missed them.
Wait, what level are you, Chris?
Congratulations.
I saw the anglers. I saw the gulpers or whatever the fuck they are, the frog things. I saw the different Mirelurks. I saw the wolves. I saw, pretty much everything else.
What level are you?
Not this motherfucker. 70.
Holy shit, dude. All right.
I told you, I've 100%ed this game. I have all the achievements.
Except you haven't.
That's why I was...
You haven't done all the quests.
They fucking haven't.
Okay. Dude, I think, well, I don't know. What difficulty are you playing on? I know you're not playing on survival. You're not playing on survival. You don't have to drink and sleep.
New survival.
Okay, so it dropped you down to hard then.
Hardest setting besides that one, because I didn't know you could do that.
Okay, yeah, it probably dropped you down to hard. Because that's what it did to me.
Okay.
Yeah, because when they added the different survival, the one that's in now, it dropped me down to the next lowest or the next highest difficulty, and then it gives you the option to switch back to real survival.
See,
but dude,
I had no idea that even happened.
The further, this is, I don't know, this is a common pattern for me at least, playing on the hardest difficulty and in survival throughout the entire game, not just Far Harbor. But the more time you spend in an area, it snapshots your level, and then the higher level you get, when you go back to that area, there are more named mobs or mobs with fixes. Right, so at first, until the end of the game, I didn't see any of the mist lurkers. But then once I got to the end, it was like mist lurkers left and right, and they had all sorts of crazy shit. They were mutating, and yeah, I got a bunch of those guys for the last 2 hours of my playthrough.
Yeah, the amount of legendary creatures I encountered in the DLC for someone who is not playing on a mode that advertises that it has additional legendary creatures was frankly insane. Every other group of enemies I fought had a legendary.
I agree. Yeah, definitely amped up. Let's move on to the atmosphere, and I have something to say about this.
Me too.
I loved the atmosphere in this game strictly because of the fog. I thought the fog added a sort of danger element to it. So because you're always worried about that rad adding up over time, and I know especially you can pop rad away or rad X or something, but it's still that you hear the Geiger counter always tick up. And I never invested anything into any radiation resistance or anything like that. So it kind of get every time I was outside, I was like, fuck, I gotta find a fog condenser or I gotta get inside somewhere because it kind of added a little, I don't know, twinge of danger to it. So I really liked the atmosphere that Far Harbor brought, and I really did feel like I was on a deserted island in a nuclear wasteland. Not really deserted, I guess that's the wrong term, but you know what I mean. And I dug it. I dug the atmosphere. What about you guys?
The atmosphere of this expansion was better than everything else in the base expansion, except for maybe some certain parts of the main city, like in the Commonwealth. But yeah, at the top, I mean, I love the contrast, right? Where you have the little established town that's Far Harbor, and it looks like a legit town, and there's the outlying little cities. And then there's little camps, and you can tell that people actually lived there at some point and were vacationing there, and it was like a national park, and they had all of that stuff that was in place. And then you go up to the very top with the observatory, and you get away from the mist, and then you can just look out upon the entire land, and the mist and the trees popping through the tops of the clouds, and seeing the distant objects in the ocean, and all that stuff was just so fucking cool. And then I did a lot of, because I was on survival and I had to avoid certain enemies, I basically played this game like Skyrim, and I liked that. I did a lot of parkour, and I did a lot of jumping up the sides of mountains. And that was fun. I liked doing that. I think it was cool because they added a little platforming element for me.
Yeah, I have to say what I love about all Fallout games, but especially was felt here is going into like an abandoned shack that isn't exactly on the map, right? Not nowhere you have to really be. And sometimes you'll find a diary or you'll find like this story. Like there are segments in this game that have nothing to do with quests that you like. There's this one area I found. I don't know if you guys found it, that you actually have to do repairs to all these generators, and you get like a really cool cache at the end of it. But reading about what they were doing there before and after, and how the whole entire family ends up becoming feral ghouls and stuff, it's fascinating. And again, like you don't have to do that quest at all. That's not a mandatory quest. You just stumble upon it. So like this game rewards you for exploring if you're into story. So again, no such thing as a real bad Fallout game. I'm going to say that repeatedly because there are problems with this game for show. Is it the best Fallout game? No, but man, okay, I'm done. I'm done with my end. Go ahead, Grant.
Actually, talking about exploration and stuff that's off the beaten path, you didn't have to. Did you find the bowling alley?
Nope.
No, I didn't either.
Oh, the bowling alley is great. Basically, there's a unique weapon that you get in there, and it tells the story of these guys who are trying to develop a way to get the ball down the lane because one of their buddies was in a terrible accident, and he was a pro bowler basically. He was on the cusp, but then I believe there was a fishing accident and he was bound to a wheelchair. So they tried to develop a way for him to get the ball down there. And you go up and you find their creation, and it's a modified fat man that just shoots bowling balls.
That's great.
Oh, shut up. Really? God damn it. All right, don't tell me where it is because I'm going to go find that.
It's in the bowling alley.
Well, no, I mean, don't tell me where the bowling alley is. Shut up.
It's on the island on Far Harbor. Yeah, atmosphere-wise, it really reminded me a lot of Point Lookout from Fallout 3, because it had this almost swampy-like aspect to it with all the creatures that they were using. It almost had this little Innsmouth kind of Cthulhu thing going on too, which I thought was pretty cool because it's you have these monstrous creatures and people who are talking about how the mist makes you crazy and shit like that. So I thought
very
that was
Lovecraftian. Again, setting the New England theme because I like Lovecraft, New England kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I thought all that was pretty great. The art was great. Like Jared said, a lot of the little things that you find where it looks like campgrounds, and it looks, there's little happy drawings. You find a marine museum at some point, and there's this giant skeleton of some marine creature that I'm like, oh, I wanted that to be some mutated thing that I had to kill, but
maybe that was the Red Menace before, and that little fucker took him out somehow.
Possibly. But yeah, as far as atmosphere goes, I have no complaints. It was really solid.
Okay, so let's segue into I keep saying segue into sorry.
You do.
Anyway, let's move on to gameplay. Not much really changed, and for me when it came to gameplay, I play a stealth sniper. I think if we're gonna get any meat out of this, we gotta go to Jared. So Jared, take it away.
I play Grognak. I just go fucking crazy. So a lot of the treacherous things in the environment weren't that treacherous for me because I already went into it with the plus 40 to rads resist, and I had Aqua Boy, and I don't know, it's like the mist wasn't shit. I was just running through it. Fuck it, Grognak.
Yeah, that's one thing I should say. Aqua Boy, Aqua Girl completely break this because, oh, the mist is doing rads. Let me jump into the water, which would usually kill me, and have it do 0 rads.
That's what I said. You can't do that. Don't take any rad resistant stuff because fuck.
I'm in a loincloth, alright? I need some rad resist.
No one told you to be in a loincloth.
I'm eating feral ghouls for lunch. I need some rad resist.
Yeah, you are
Man,
definitely the most badass player.
Oh, I know.
All of us.
Oh, I know. Dude, something that really upset me about it, the gameplay in general, is that they didn't give me a melee weapon until the very end. I guess that's kind of my fault for not actually doing the Children of the Atom questline, but there were zero melee weapons until the actual end. For me, at least. And they don't.
But that is a pretty badass melee weapon, dude.
It is. It's sick, and it does so much damage. And it would have been great if I had it earlier, but there were no other options. I mean, there wasn't. Oh, well, no. Actually, I found a random ass chainsaw in the world, but it was terrible. It was garbage. It's cool that they added something like that, but man, they didn't. The entire game does not cater to my playstyle, and that's really frustrating for me. Not just this expansion.
I have to interject because there's more melee weapons added in this than anything else.
How? Where?
You have
the harpoons.
You have new types of weapons where, as far as firearms, it's just the harpoon gun and the new rad assault rifle, multi-type.
No, you also have the repeater. They added that as well.
What do you mean repeater?
The six shot repeater. The what's it called? The one that Longfellow uses. That was added.
But that's right. There was a small chainsaw. There was that massive power mace, and then there was a harpoon. But I tried upgrading the harpoon, and it wasn't good. I mean, I found one of them, and I found one of the chainsaws, and that was it. I didn't find any other melee weapons. I got so many.
Does the harpoon count as melee?
Yeah, not like the harpoon. Maybe it's not called a harpoon. It was like a fishing hook. And you can change it so it gets a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
but that was
the two different types of fishing hooks that were added.
Yeah. As far as there's not much to change the gameplay. The only thing they kind of added was the fog, and like you said, you could avoid it. But I mean, it you're playing this right off like you're playing any other game. Like you're playing other expansion. There was no real change as far as what your character's doing. You're shooting or you're in Jared's case bashing faces.
Yeah.
And
that's the creatures themselves, especially the new creatures and the way that the creatures come at you, that changed the gameplay a lot for me. I think it probably had some effect for you guys, but maybe not as much. But the fact that they pair different types of enemies with the Mirelurks, the Mirelurks are now just the base trash, they're just the trash mobs. And then they throw other shit at you. And the other shit is hard to deal with, and then you've got the Mirelurks as well, and everything is just rushing you down. And the trappers actually have traps and shit. Sorry.
I know, it's okay. I have to say I do like the fact that there's another stealth enemy out there. Not so much they turn invisible, but the gulpers, they just kind of hide in trees and pop out whenever. And also the anglers, they disguise themselves as those little glowy seaweeds and stuff. So yeah, you could be running into an enemy out of nowhere. This game, the only thing I could say gameplay wise is this expansion keeps you on your toes for show.
I'm just disappointed that none of the items that they added really added anything to gameplay. None of those weapons that we got change anything.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. You're still going at this like you would any other expansion or any other Fallout game. They're the same. So you point and shoot, you throw grenades, or in Jared's case, you bash faces in, and that's kind of it.
I mean, to talk about other Fallouts, I'll talk about New Vegas real quick. One of the DLCs for New Vegas added a new type of melee weapon where they were essentially energy melee weapons, and those were better for bringing down your robots, your mechanical enemies. And that's something that hadn't been in that game before, and the DLC added it. And I'm kind of disappointed that there isn't really anything here. I would have liked, since this was almost Mirelurk centric, I would have really appreciated an item that was added that would be something that would to crack their shells or something that would change.
Please.
Or I would real limited ammo, or maybe even a recovery, the bowling ball launcher that I was talking about. Maybe make it so that breaks shells, but then you have to go pick up your bowling balls. Something. I just want some change like that.
More, or maybe a giant crab cracker. I would. I would have preferred something. We have this sort of oceanic theme, but we're still on land. and we're even given a harpoon gun, and we're giving a rad resistant what's it called, diving apparatus. And yet there's like maybe one mission where you go into the ocean, and again, you can't really fire either. Not even like a mutated shark. What happened to all the sharks?
Yeah, I feel like that's a big missed opportunity with the game, is there's so much to explore underwater. And I did the whole quest line to get the power armor from all the sunk ships, but
Yeah.
there's you can't fight in the water, so they don't throw anything at you. I mean, I was able to like leash things, right? I would hit something on land and it would be following me, but I'd just swim out and I'd dive underwater and they would go away.
I
There's
thought you meant
no-
leash as in like you tried to fight underwater. I was like, leave it to Jared.
Oh,
Like,
no,
fuck
no.
you. I am gonna fight underwater.
Like leash the AI, like it would be following me and then I'd get far enough away from it, or I'd hit a certain point and it would leave and it would go back to where it was. And that was really disappointing.
It's just it's such an opportunity. We were just talking about, guns that could have affected
fucking
the game
harpoon
differently.
guns.
We have harpoon guns, exactly. It's like that's a
That's what
real
I'm
world
saying.
thing. Like, so we fire that underwater. That's our new gameplay change. It's just like missed opportunity. A lot like
Where
talking about the synths, missed opportunity. It's like that's what frustrates me about this DLC the most, is that it's so close to being the best DLC they've put out, but just decides to not
they played
reach
it
its
safe.
potential.
They played it safe. They're like, we're not going to deviate too far. And I think this is a great way to kind of go into, did this add to the base game, or was it, or could this have been done without? Did this really need to exist?
This did not $25 add to the base game.
No.
I agree. I
However-
think this could have been.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I think this could have been. This was slightly bigger than the Mechanist expansion. We kind of, but I mean, this was essentially a really small version, really small version of the main game. That's what it was. You had your different factions you side with, and you have your and you choose a side, and you hope you did the best, and you're done.
Yeah, again,
That's it.
yeah. I'm going to bring up Point Lookout from Fallout 3 again. If you've played Point Lookout, you know almost exactly how much content is in this DLC.
I again, like, I feel like you get like, I'm gonna bring up New Vegas because you've done it so many times, like because that was the way you did DLC, man. Like everything felt new and fresh. You were in different environments sometimes. They were the story was a little linear, but overall felt like it added something different. Like I wasn't playing a smaller version of something I already just played. This was a totally different version, a totally different game.
And those DLC chapters all related to each other. There were pieces and parts of the story that connected each one of the New Vegas DLCs. Like Obsidian did Fallout DLC better than Fallout's own creators have been doing. It's unfortunate there's no connection in Far Harbor to really anything else. Once you get to the island,
Save Kasumi.
yeah, like that kind of what I was talking about before. If you tell the Institute or if you tell the Railroad, there's a throwaway line that pops up when you're actually talking to Dima, and I think one other character. But it's like it's just so disconnected from
That's another
your
thing.
game.
I have to, yeah, like I went and I told the Railroad, because I sided with the Railroad for the main game, and I went and told them, and I was totally expecting them to show up to the island and be like, what the hell is this? You guys are freaking ruining everything we're doing, or whatever, some sort of confrontation. And I think that could have been something, like, depending on like, can you imagine if the Brotherhood of Steel showed up to that island?
Oh, dude, I
What
told
happened?
them. I went and told them. I
Exactly.
ratted those guys out, but they didn't show up. They were too fucking busy.
Exactly.
They didn't want to send
Again,
their dirigibles
potatoes.
that way.
Oh man. So like, again, missed opportunities here. Like if you're going to do an offshoot of your main game, have your main game interact with it. Like you set it up. It's like someone thought that this might happen, and then I don't know, maybe they ran out of time or something, but nothing ever gets followed through.
What I think was better is the art. I think that all of the new models, and especially the new characters and the towns, I think all of that stuff was a major improvement over the base game. However, going, especially on like the loading screens, seeing a new model, you're like, wow, that looks pretty good. And then you see an old model, and you're like, wow, the new model looks even better after seeing this trash. And then you actually take a look at the new model, and you're like, wow, this is actually still kind of shitty. I mean, yeah, it's an improvement, but it's not good by any sense of the word. I mean, the game is just not optimized that well.
Well,
It doesn't
again,
run.
they've added
It's
to their own what's it called? Not operating system. I'm thinking the wrong
their engine. Yeah, they've
engine. Thank
updated the
you,
engine a little
sorry.
bit, but still, it's such an old engine. I mean, they could definitely do
Exactly.
better. They could have multiple layers of texture, and like they could do something else with their spec, and they could do anything with their normals. A lot of the new stuff has some okay looking normals, but it still all looks like greasy, which I guess is okay for like the land, or I mean like the sea creatures, but it doesn't look good on the trees. And I don't know, they use the mist to hide a lot of the poor texture work and just the poor detail that they just left out. And that's kind of a bummer. There's a whole bunch of ground textures that just look like ass. I mean, the sky looks good, but you don't look at the sky. You look at the stuff that's around your feet, right? You look at the stuff that's eye level. The houses are mostly the same. It's mostly just like the new characters and the towns. They're much better structured, and they are a lot prettier than the base game, but that's not saying much considering how ass they look as a whole. This is 2016. This is like a 2013 quality game or earlier, 2012, 2013 quality game in 2016.
It's kind of funny you mentioned the ground textures and whatnot, and then they just don't meet the kind of the level of quality. I actually use a couple mods for trees, ground textures, and rocks, and it all blended pretty seamlessly with the new content. So
yeah, but that's not Bethesda's
to.
work, right? That's a fan who has the same opinion of me as me, thinking that it looks terrible.
I'm just saying I agree with you, and like using someone else's work to bring those things like up to snuff, it looks pretty darn. Everything looks clean. But yeah, I mean the creation engine was created for Skyrim, so yeah, it's essentially a 2011 game.
Oh, there you go.
That's shined up, so.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, I felt like a lot of the game was Skyrim to me because I was hopping up and down the mountain in the center of the map. And that's just the fastest way for me to get around. I mean, I'm not going to run all the way around the map when I can't teleport. I'm going to take the shortest path, and there's a fucking big-ass mountain in the middle, so of course I'm going to go over it. And all of those, it's like they didn't even care. It's like they thought nobody was going to be on this mountain. Oh, nobody's going to be climbing up here. Let's just put some plain-ass textures, and let's put some rocks here.
Who was on there? Our fucking Jared was there.
Of course I was,
dude.
Saw
your dirty shit.
I'm grognack.
He saw it.
I'm going to be climbing that mountain.
Hide that shit.
I always love climbing up those mountains and looking for the areas where they think the player isn't going to view something at the angle that you are, so you end up looking at geometry that they didn't bring the textures all the way down. So there's a giant gap in between the rocks where you see through the world. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's actually, before we get out of here, that's another thing, is I had a blitz build, right? And this did not happen to me in the base game, not a single once, but in this version it happened to me twice. I would blitz to something, and the game would pause for a moment, and I would wind up on the other side of the island, and then I would fall through the world. And that happened to me fucking twice on survival, so I had to do it again. The fucking blitz too hard.
Blitz just right.
You traveled another dimension. That's what happened. Okay, yeah. So let's wrap this up.
All right, I just want to know this. Okay, I've been pretty silent this whole time because I haven't played this shit.
And plus, you're in a nuclear apocalypse, so
you're actually living it right now.
Yeah,
I'm living it, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
All right there. Okay. Anyway, is it worth my money? Should I get this?
That's the real question, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's go down the list. We'll start at the top here with Grant. What do you think? Should people buy this?
Well, how much is it? How much is just the base expansion? It's like $40, right? It's how much?
$25. At $25, Grant. I've never played this game before. I'm coming to you. Is it worth it?
No. I'm gonna say either wait for the collected fall. If you've never played the game before, wait for the collected Fallout edition that was like the Skyrim Legendary. Pick it up on the cheap. If you do already have Fallout 4, the base game, I'd just wait for a Steam sale. And again, pick it up when it's cheaper. Is it worth $25? No, it's not. Is it worth 15? Still debatable. 10? Yeah, sure.
So you're saying this is kind of a Mechanist deal. So what was the Mechanist worth for you, just out of curiosity?
Maybe $5.
Okay, fair enough. Jared.
For 25, no. However, there are plenty of websites out there that have great deals, and if you can get like the season pass for around $25, which is what I did, I think I got it for just about that. Then yes, I think it was worth it. I mean, expecting a little bit more out of the season pass, I think that the season pass at like a $25 price range is good. This expansion, Far Harbor for $25, absolutely not. And I would agree with Grant. 15, kind of pushing it. $10, yeah, I'd say $10. You can definitely get your time and money out of it.
I'd even say wait on season pass, even if you can find it for $25, because
we don't know what else is coming.
Yeah, this was the big push. Far Harbor was the big one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since they upped the season pass, though, are we expecting anything else coming down the pipe for this?
They haven't announced
I'm
anything.
sure E3 they'll drop some details.
Yeah, they did mention that they are working on more content to basically bring the value of the season pass up to its new price point. But as you mentioned, we've seen none of it. It could be more the Pokemon style capture monsters stuff that I haven't even
Don't get me
touched
started on that. Well, I am trying to do 100% achievements on this game, and that bullshit pissed me off to no end. I'm like, oh god, okay, so I'm not even going to deal with that. But yeah, okay, so I guess I'll go now.
Wait, one more opinion, no. Tino. As you sit in the radioactive mist, do you feel, after what we've talked about, would it be worth your $25? Like,
he was going to go after me, Grant, but that's okay. I guess he can go first.
Well, I mean, hearing what you guys have said, probably not. I mean, this is come from the guy who probably played 60 hours of the game and didn't even finish it. I mean, I'm interested in the game only in exploring. So if it's more of just a story, I'm definitely not going to drop $25 on it.
Okay, so I would say, thank you, Tino. I would say that it's worth $15. Only if only for that aspect, is because there are still nooks and crannies I still haven't found. I haven't found that bowling alley yet. I like finding these little hidden gems. I like finding the teddy bears that are on the toilet and taking a shit. I like finding that stuff. And so and they did add a lot of that to this game. Just stuff that's not out. If you're going straight storyline and straight dialogue and straight weapons and stuff like that, yeah, you're probably right. It's a $10 per game at best. But I'll pay an extra $5 if I get to go to a nuclear fallout island and get to see like those last frames of moments of someone else's life right before a nuclear bomb came and took everything away. It's that. Oh, it gives me chills every time I read like a diary entry from some young girl who just ran away from her parents for a night, and that happened in the night that a nuclear bomb fell. Or the guy, my favorite is when you go to like the police, police depots, and they're like one day away from retirement. That old cliche, and that was the day the bombs fell and stuff like that. Like little hidden gems in this game. Yeah. I will say it again for the last time. I don't believe there's any such thing as a bad Fallout game. So that's my opinion.
There's only bad people.
The game was like the taste of Maine. I mean, it was interesting to try, but I wouldn't go back to it.
Is that a saying, or is that just something you made up?
What? Are you serious? That was a whole big thing about the Vim Factory. Chris, you won 100% of the game. No.
Fail.
Yep, Chris won 100% of the game. He knows.
The achievement. No. I heard. I went to the Vim Factory. What are you talking about?
That was their whole thing. That was their shtick, is that they wanted the Vim to taste like the taste of Maine. And they're like, what the fuck is the taste of Maine? Is it fish? Is it salt? And then people ended up enjoying it, but they said it tasted a bit fishy. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. The game was like the taste of Maine.
Like I said, I still have much exploring to do. And with that, I think we're going to end it. I am Chris James.
I'm still Grant. I haven't changed.
Yep, and I'm still Jared.
I'm Tino.
And from all of us at Awesome Analysis, thanks for listening.